Every guy I've spoken to has had the will and want to change, but has been unable to. And I'm no different. Back in 2021, I was in sick form. I was playing video games, I was learning about subjects I frankly didn't care about. And it only arose to me where I had to make a decision after sick form. Had to go to university or just simply get a job. And those were the only two options I could see in front of me. So, like most people, I got into university. When I got into university, things were okay at the beginning. The subject I was learning was interesting, and the life and the party around it was pretty fun as well. However, after a few months, I realized that it wasn't really for me. I wasn't really interested in the thing that I was doing, and I found myself just driving myself further and further into video games as a way of coping. However, when I was working in a library in the university, I came across a ad for a course. Now, funnily enough, this was actually Andrew Tate's course, The Real World. And whatever opinions you have on him and his courses, I don't really bother. But that course changed everything. Or what I will say, at least, is that decision changed everything. Where I decided to invest in myself properly for the first time in a while. And as a result, I worked at it, I put some time and effort in, and eventually I was able to make my first bit of money online. It was about £200 for, I think, 3 months of email copywriting. It was abysmal charging, but point being is I was able to get somewhere. And that was a huge turning point for me because I realized that it was possible and that the route I was going didn't have to be my route. It didn't have to be the end route. And from there, I effectively told my parents that I want to quit university. I want to do my own thing, and I believe I can make it work. I can believe I can make it happen. And that was all good, and they supported me with that. I'm very fortunate for that. However, that wasn't until 2.5 years through this journey of going through copywriting, then getting into the LinkedIn space and doing LinkedIn lead generation, I then hit another roadblock. I hated what I was doing. I hated it. The hours and hours of manual outreach and follow ups and such for the 6 or 7 different clients I had was exhausting. It was mundane, it was repetitive, and I just didn't like it. Worse yet, I wasn't really making much money from my clients either. A lot of the clients I had were on a performance based pay, and I wasn't getting that good results either. And I would have this conversation with myself and a few other people that I knew, and I landed on the point that I was probably burnt out. And it was more so misalignment burnout, where the thing I was doing, I had zero care for. And I would record videos every week for my lead generation business. And I noticed in the last few weeks of me posting the video, I watched it and realized how dull and how done and drained I was with the thing I was doing. And so then I had another decision to make. Well, do I keep trying to push forward and make this thing work? Or do I start over? Do I do a new thing? And that was a worrying thing for me because when you put 2.5 years into a business or into a craft or such, it's going to be difficult to turn that away, to push that away. But from what I realized was that I'm never starting new. I'm always starting from an experience. And that's something Alex Hormozy says, which I really like. And so I took the jump. I took the jump to quit my business, to stop the business. I got rid of all my clients and I started on something new. I tried to, and I made an ikigai. I believe it's a Japanese concept where I put together something of a idea of what it is that I like, what it is that I'm good at, what it is that the world needs, and what it is that I can get paid for. And it landed with, well, I like playing video games and I'm good at using AI because I used it for my business and such. And that's when it landed on the thought of, well, could I not make video games with AI? Was that not something I could do? And in the past, I had used AI, I had used AI to make code for some automation that I was running. And so I thought, well, could I not do that for video game script? And there was even also on the Ikigai around creating YouTube content like this and such. And instead of making a massive crazy plan and such, I just started doing stuff. I just started taking steps towards it. And at this point, like, I'm so grateful for the decision I made because, like, hey, I've still got a long way to go. I'm still working on getting my full game out by the end of this year. And I'm still obviously aiming to just work on my content on YouTube and such. But what mattered here was that I couldn't get to where I am now and work on the thing which is genuinely meaningful to me without going through those roadblocks, without running into the things which I thought I wanted, but I didn't. So, if you're someone which is feeling a little paralyzed in their life in terms of what you want to do, in terms of where you want to go, just know that, in my opinion, I think you should start with an ikigai. An ikigai, draw something on it, like get a piece of paper, draw out 4 boxes, draw out the thing that you like to do, the thing that you're good at, the thing that the world needs, and the thing that you can get paid for. And try and go into detail with that and figure out what that is. And sometimes you're not always going to know what you want, but try and put some interest down and try and figure out what it is that's going to look like. I think an easy one, or a more broader and easier one, is doing something on YouTube. And you've probably seen videos out there of people telling you to get on YouTube. But I think it's probably one of the broader and safer things to do, because you can just start talking, like even just talking about stuff you're interested in, as long as it's relevant to the other person. But that's just the story I wanted to share of myself, because look, it's not clear, it's not straightforward, and I've had to make some tough decisions and figuring out what I do and don't want to do. But what has mattered most to me is that now at the age of 22, I am feeling much more confident that what I'm doing is meaningful to me and that this is going to be something I want to do long term. So hopefully you found this useful. Let me know your thoughts on this, and I'll chat soon.